Ladies and gentlemen, boys of girls. Boys of girls? Most boys are of girls. You know, they're the mom. And take two. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you paid for your whole seat, but you'll only use the edge for this riveting episode of Whole Life Entrepreneurship, brought to you by the founders, Carrie and Adam Anderson.
Hi guys, that's Adam. It's been quite a week.
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
We found out Carrie is allergic to New York.
So we were in New York all last week for a conference for an organization called C-Suite, and I love New York. I'm crazy about New York. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But there are like 5 million people breathing the same air on a subway.
19 million.
Really?
19, a little over 19 million. Not on the same subway at the same time, but 19 million in the greater.
Yeah, it was something.
I went to Queens on accident.
Yeah, Adam got lost and somehow wound up in Queens. That's okay. No judgment. I mean, only a little bit of judgment, but I literally was like looking at my Find a Friend and I'm going,
You're going the wrong way.
we're not even on the same island. So you may notice I have a little bit of a little something going on.
That's what I meant when I said you're allergic to New York, is that you brought home.
Yeah, so I brought home some cooties, and I'm sorry. It's not pretty.
Yes, it is.
It's pretty gross.
It's pretty wonderful.
That's the only kind of pretty it is pretty gross. So, lots of sneezing and sore throat and lots of congestion. Ugh.
Cool. So what do you want to talk about today, so that maybe we can talk about it, and then you can put your Willis Creepy face to bed, baby.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I'm like, I don't know how long I can last, so. You wanted to talk about mindset today.
That's true, and I love my voice enough that if you need to be quiet this whole time, I can...
Are you asking me to be quiet?
No, I want you to start us. Tell me what you think about when you think mindset, or set the stage on why mindset might be important for folks who are doing this kind of life.
Well, you and I were talking about the other day, we were talking about the kind of people that we really want to involve in whole life entrepreneurship.
Ooh, yes.
And we were talking about the fact that we really wanted to hone in on people who already were on a path of trying to constantly better themselves.
Yes, we didn't want to convince somebody that it was valuable to work on yourself. So if you don't already get, I should probably be the best version of me to bring that into my family, and then I'm going to make my business better. If that sounds foreign to you, we got more work to do.
Yeah, that's okay. Maybe we're not for you.
Yeah.
That's okay. But if you are the kind of person who constantly is trying to figure out how to be a better version of yourself, I think mindset is a good place to start.
Yep, it's the very first place to start, actually. I mean, because you think about how you think about yourself is important. And we say that humility is important. And when we say humility, I mean thinking about yourself accurately. Not too much, not too little, accurately. And mindset has a lot to do with it, because your perception of yourself, married with your ability to be resilient in the face of things maybe not going perfect, that's the thing that's going to level you up or cause you to wallow where you're at.
You know, one of the things that I've always found was really enlightening when we have taken the 3C assessment.
Tell me more.
I like to think that I am a very self-aware person. And I always think that mindfulness is just part of who I am. And then we take our 3C assessment and I realize that I am thinking that I am like a 10. I'm a 10 on the wife scale. Like at least a 9. And when you do it for me...
So I answer how you are at the thing.
How well you feel supported by me.
Uh-huh.
It's never quite what I think it is.
Yeah, so the 3C's assessment, for those of you who haven't taken it, it asks some questions like, do you know what brings you joy and what fills you up? And you're like, yeah, I'm pretty tuned into that. And then it goes, do you think your spouse knows what brings you joy? And you're like, no, right? And, then the next thing is, do you know what your spouse is, right? So it lets you check in and see, reality check, where are we with being on the same page?
Yeah, so I always think it's really, really interesting when you're talking about mindset and mindfulness and just being aware. I think that just always understanding that there's always room for improvement. Always.
Yep.
Always. And so then you can move and shift towards something that's a little bit more elusive, right? Mind hacking.
That
which
sounds
is
like
exactly, I know, it sounds fancy, right? I mean, basically all it is being able to give yourself an attitude adjustment in the middle of something.
Yeah, I think a bit different. I think you're not wrong. I think that it's hard to do it in the moment.
It's so hard.
When I think about mind hacking, I think of looking at your autopilot. In our conflict resolution stuff, we talk about autopilot and, how you've got all this stuff pre-programmed. Like somewhere along the line, I stepped in bubblegum. I was on Rhein-Main Air Force Base. I was in the 2nd grade. And from that moment forward, I hate bubblegum. Because I love my shoes. They were rocking. I can run so fast, but not with the bubble gum on them. So even all the way back there in the 2nd grade, programming in my head is now affecting how I think about something today at 42. So we'll go with 42 years old. It's fair. And so when I think about mind hacking and I compare it to cybersecurity, take your time.
Excuse me.
And I compare it to cybersecurity, I think of the brain as an operating system that is working with code that I wrote in the 2nd grade. Have you met a 2nd grader yet? Lately? It's like, and that's how it is.
They're not the most woke folks.
So when you think about mindset and you think about how you perceive the world, it's based off of your experiences, what you've been taught, and your intentionality. And you can only control one of them. You can't control your experiences; those are happening to you. You can't control your perspective, but that's later. You can't control what you've been taught, how you've been raised. All you can do is say, "Can I check in on what I believe?"
Can't control your circumstances.
No. All you can do is you can control your perception of what's happening to you, and then use that perception and that control to rewire your belief systems.
And the purpose of all that, in theory, is to not only just figure out a way to be joyful in the moment, but also to break through your own ceiling. So a lot of the times, the reasons that we can't get to where we want to go are our own limiting beliefs.
Yep.
I have a tendency to get really stuck behind my own limiting beliefs. I've had to do a lot of work to try and reteach myself where my limits are, if there are limits.
Ooh. I like the idea of comparing. We do a lot of, business is a lot like family and family is a lot like business. The currency of business, the currency of family to me is joy, fulfillment, happiness, all this stuff. Currency.
All the time.
Nonstop. And the currency of business is money. I can build a company that can scale far beyond my wildest dreams as far as money goes. And I now believe that we can also do the same thing in the family that can scale joy, happiness, fulfillment all the way up. And, a lot of us have built lives that are going like this, up or right, that's great. But man, there's a hockey stick moment in your future if you stay in the game and you begin to work on yourself and your own perceptions of what is going on. And that's mindset. And I'd love to give an example.
Okay, please do.
In entrepreneurship and in family, sometimes things happen and you're like, man, that's not what I wanted. That didn't turn out right. We have some new members who've joined the group that are part of the C-suite, and they're just happy to have you here. But I gotta tell you, we were told that there was going to be something like 60 to 70 people in the talk we did. And there were 20 that showed up, 20, and they're amazing, and they're great, and we had good conversations, and it turned out great.
And I think it's the perfect people.
Absolutely.
that were put in front of us.
But in my head, I was thinking, there should have been 70. Now there's 20. And my mindset was wrong. I wasn't...
Your expectations were set wrong.
Yeah, well, I was measuring the wrong thing. I was measuring butts and seats, not quality of those butts. And some of those was some fine... I don't know where I'm going with that. They were high quality butts, is what I was saying. So it has... You can either get triggered by your expectations and life not living up to your expectations, or you can be a little bit more forgiving, a little bit more open. You can have a better mindset and say, gosh, I'm so glad that these are the people who showed up because we had good questions. We were able to have more of a connection. And anytime I get frustrated that life isn't going exactly as I want it to, and I begin to get upset, the number one thing I can do is stop and find something to be grateful for.
Yeah. Oh, gratitude's it all the way. All the way, every time. If ever you are in the middle of whatever situation you're in, my granny used to call it having a Pollyanna moment.
Pollyanna.
Play the happiness game. Does anybody know Pollyanna? Anybody see that movie when you were a kid? It was a Disney movie. Made my daughter watch it not too long ago. Forgotten a lot about it, but yeah, and Pollyanna plays the happiness game.
What's that?
And she turns every single thing around into something happy. You know, she was supposed to get a doll for Christmas, but she accidentally got crutches. But at least she doesn't need crutches. That kind of thing. So, like, you know, annoyingly happy stuff. But hey, I'm here for it. Absolutely. I love that stuff.
Can we play the happiness game next week? Just all next week is the happiness game.
Throughout our week or on our live?
No, throughout our week.
Oh, yeah, totally. Try it.
Yeah,
you might like it.
Hey, you've got to go to the doctor tomorrow, maybe get antibiotics. Let's play the happiness game.
But, I mean, modern medicine.
Hey, at least there's modern medicine.
Yes. Oh, man.
Oh, and at least you're in an area where you can get access to it.
How much does mindset help and have a part in relationships?
Oh, it's the only thing that keeps you in the game.
I agree.
The secret to succeeding in a relationship or in business or in life in general is to stay in the game, because you can be absolutely taken out of the game.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Once you give up and once you're out of the game, you can't get back in, or it's super hard, or you have to rebuy back in, whatever. So just staying in the game, that's it. And it's nothing more complicated than having the right mindset about the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, even like with parenting, I think if you're not in a good headspace, you're not bringing your best self to your most important job. I mean, I do it all the time. And even in the moment, have to think, all right.
I was just thinking, so far we haven't had an experience where they're like, you know what? I really respect you for taking that iPad away from me. And the way you're limiting me from those digital devices and keeping me away from social media, really value that.
Yeah, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad.
I've been in timeout long enough that I've had time to self-reflect. And I can tell you, you were right. Yeah. You're right all along.
Yeah, they need some mindset changes. All right, guys. Anything else we need to wrap up for the day? I'm beginning to not be able to breathe.
Yeah, happiness challenge. Go ahead and do the Pollyanna happiness challenge. And you know what? I would love to hear some examples. If you feel some motivated, send me a message of a time in the coming week where you were like, that sucked, but I found a happiness way to say, hey, at least
it's a silver lining. I mean,
yeah.
You know,
it's a super good mindset exercise. Something's going crazy, something's going sideways. Find the happy, and even make it a joke to make yourself laugh. You can't laugh and feel disappointed. That was something I discovered this week, by the way. When I am feeling joy, I cannot feel fear. And that.
Wow, that's sweet. Beautiful.
Yep. On that.
I think I just fell in love with you a little bit more.
That's the mindset you're in, baby.
All right, guys. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye.